In our series Traces of the Past, Arts.21 reporters travel the globe searching for the legacy left to different countries by German Jews. This week, we visit several generations of a family in South Africa.
Cape Town, the heart of the Rainbow Nation and a popular tourist destination. Over the years, it's also attracted asylum seekers and refugees. In the 1930s, some 7,000 Jews found a new home in South Africa, including Miriam Kleineibst.
Jewishness is important to me, but everyone has to decide for themselves what's important.
Got it. When you come to town, you go to a synagogue if you're there on a Friday night. For us, as I said, we had our family gatherings twice or three times a year. That for us was enough.
If you were to define me, I would be a Jewish South African of German descent. And that's how I see myself. So.
Miriam was 13 when she arrived in 1937, narrowly escaping the horrors of the Second World War.
And now Ronnie comes as well. I said, it sounds so long ago to you, like history. To me, it's like yesterday.
She traveled with her mother and siblings, sailing by ship from Italy to South Africa in 6 weeks. Miriam's father had traveled ahead. Their reunion almost never happened. Their ship was one of the last to transport Jewish refugees from Europe to Cape Town. For Miriam, a visit to the Holocaust Center brings the memories flooding back. When the ship docked, the passengers had to remain on board for hours, not knowing whether they would be allowed on land or not.
We arrived at 6 o'clock in the morning on a boiling day, and they only let us off the boat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Supposedly the land of many faces, South Africa was unwilling to accept the Jewish refugees. Radical Boer groups organized demonstrations in protest.
It was a problem because there was this very strong anti-immigrant feeling, but it was very much steeped in Nazi ideology and in anti-Semitism. So this is a very significant event.
As Germans and as Jews, the refugees were doubly unwelcome. When the Second World War erupted, Miriam had to carry an identity card at all times.
If I wanted to go to Johannesburg, I had to deregister with the police in Cape Town and then re-register in Johannesburg.
Once she became a naturalized citizen, life became easier. The Jewish community was a source of support, and Miriam soon made friends. She worked as a hat maker and got married to a German. It didn't take long for her to put down roots and call Cape Town her home. She never considered returning to Germany. Her German nationality doesn't mean much to her, but being Jewish does.
My late husband was given this book at his bar mitzvah in 1934.
An encyclopedia.
It was published in 1934, when Hitler was already in power and anti-Jewish laws had already been passed. It's all in the encyclopedia. You can look it up.
Miriam has also retained a fondness for German food. She's never kept kosher.
The Hausmacher Leberwurst over there, the ring, that's fantastic.
German traditions and products were never taboo in the Hatzfeld family.
You got some Jews who wouldn't buy a German car. Today even, I guess, but it was never, my parents never taught us about their heritage in that way. They didn't say, you must hate Germany.
Ronnie Hatzfeld knows this synagogue well. It belongs to the Temple Israel, another name for the Cape Town Progressive Jewish congregation, now a minority in the city. The German refugees played an important role in the development of the Jewish Reform congregation.
In the early years, they were very influential. They were very influential in establishing the Liberal, the Reform movement here in Cape Town. And most of them became members of the synagogue because of their background in Germany, what they were used to in Germany.
This is the tradition that Ronnie grew up with, the idea that being Jewish wasn't about following rules.
No, I was with a Jewish minister.
It's a central part of my life. Although I may not be here as much as I used to be, it's still very important to me.
Riebeek Castile is an hour's drive from Cape Town. This is where Miriam's youngest son lives, and the family comes together here every few weeks. Miriam's daughter-in-law is South African, born and bred. It doesn't matter that she's not Jewish. For years, the family lived in an ethnically diverse mining town in northern South Africa.
The fact that our kids grew up in a sort of multicultural type environment with lots of races and religion, and that made it easier. I don't know what it would have been like if we stayed somewhere in the country and there weren't any sort of opportunities to mix with other people or other religions or races.
Racial segregation during apartheid prevented blacks and whites from mixing. White South Africans rarely, if ever, ventured into the townships. Even though the former Jewish refugees had experienced segregation firsthand, they accepted the system.
Our parents made us aware from a very early age that there were things that were wrong with this country, but that we had been, or they, as refugees, had been allowed into this country, where many other countries around the world refused Jews entry at that time in the 30s. So they felt they had an obligation to live in the country peacefully with the government of the day.
Wasting water.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not wasting water.
Apartheid ended years ago. Miriam's housekeeper, Dina Wales, is part of the family. They both depend on each other. Dina laughs off Miriam's habit of referring to her husband as master.
Okay.
You say master?
Yeah.
I say master, I say pa, I say opa, anything. And that's oma.
She calls me her mother.
Yeah, oma and ma and everything. And opa and ma, pa, everything, master.
Yeah.
It's this relaxed attitude to life that Miriam came to love about Cape Town. Germany feels very far away indeed.